Hi everyone, welcome. To start with, there are a lot of channels about tabletops out there, experts in game mastery and playing. This is not one of them. Here I am new to this space, very passionate about it, and I'm learning to be a better GM, better player, and a better person. I play on a lot of different games with a lot of different people, a lot of different GMs, and I learn a lot, and I continue to learn a lot. And I just want to share some cool stuff that I learned that you might like too. So today I want to talk about an experience that I've been having. I feel like I've entered this hobby at such a great time. It feels like there's this renaissance happening with tabletops, and there's just so much change and activity. I have not been in the space long enough to really have an idea of like back in the day. But I am lucky enough to know a lot of really approachable folks who have been gaming for a few decades, and they all universally agree that things are changing and mostly for the better. Does this mean that, every single change is a good one? Maybe not from everyone's perspective. For example, mechanics have generally gotten a lot more streamlined, and wargaming and complexity is not really driven, is not generally sort of the norm, and crunchy rule sets that is really numbers heavy, math heavy, really precise rules and rule sets. Those are not what is being newly put out, but like some people really dig that kind of thing, and for those people, like older editions of D&D, Shadowrun still exist, and if you want something new, Eclipse Phased or Red Markets, and that's really the beauty of all of the newness, is that it doesn't invalidate anything that exists or has existed before. Like, there's so many options for everyone. People who are more RP minded can have stories that both enable and mechanize narrative. People who are more tactically minded can have stories that, or have games that mechanize and incentivize, using the rules in creative ways, and everything in between. Most people fall somewhere in between. And another really cool thing is that new voices are being heard. You don't have to work for a big publishing house anymore to be published in the tabletop space. Like, it's not... Well, you don't have to work for Wizards or a big publishing house to be published in the tabletop space. It's not a massive money-making endeavor or anything, as far as I know. But, what community-based growth is. I'm not saying that it's not hard work. It's incredibly hard work, but the ability to self-publish from artists, from communities you want to work with, you can hire freelance design and editing experts, again, from communities that you want to support. It is incredible. Like, I personally know at least 5 published creators in the tabletop space and 3 freelance designers, and that's not even close to being anywhere near my industry. Like, these are just people I know from games. So new stories are being told, and at least some of them are being told by people who didn't even have a seat at the table before. Like, that's cool as hell to me. There are so many accessible resources for new people as well. And I think a lot of depth exists for older players. One of the biggest online entertainment organizations is centered around D&D. Like, regardless of how you feel about Critical Role, and I personally love it, that's kind of cool. And like Dimension 20, and there's sort of this entire bastion of like actual plays that people are able to sort of engage with and watch. Like, that's cool as hell. I feel like one of the main reasons the hobby has opened up is that a lot of it has migrated to online spaces over the last couple of years. For the first time, people who have not really had access to physical games or local game stores, or who didn't really feel welcome in those spaces, finally have a space that they can kind of engage in this hobby in, where they have a much higher chance of being treated equitably. This goes for women, for disabled folk, for Black people, for brown people, anyone of color, really. Not really anyone who is not like an able-bodied cis white guy. If you're a disabled brown woman, I'm obviously not saying that we were like banned from these places or anything, but it's different for us. It may not always be your friendly local game store. For us, it's just a game store. But anyway, but like, none of that stuff matters online. In fact, a lot of your difference is what is celebrated. Like, my voice has been given value in several of the spaces that I'm in, specifically because I am a disabled brown woman. And it feels so good to know that my perspective is being sought. And I guarantee yours will be too. Anyway, none of this is to say that, everything is perfect or we've gotten where we need to, in terms of accessibility or diversity or inclusion. But I feel like we are actively moving forward in the right direction. And for every one detractor voice or every one official, WotC Discord that's like full of terrible takes and like horrible racial coding with their characters and stuff, there's multiple smaller communities and multiple people being like, no, that's incredibly stupid and please get it away from me, and if that's what you think, I want no part of it. Anyway, so the caveat that I will make, though, is that this experience of growth and seeking out new experiences, even among older tabletop players, I have seen mostly exist in medium to smaller communities, mostly on Discord, usually ones that are centered around content creators, not necessarily around games. I don't actually find the Discord that are officially like the communities of games. Like, I have not had great experiences in, I was gonna say most of them, but any of them. Actually, no, the Swords Out Masters Discord is pretty dope. But like, any of the rest of them that I've tried to be a part of, like, it really hasn't gone well. For multiple reasons. But I have found several other smaller communities. Like, I am an active part of a couple of different communities on Discord, which is where I have access to all these different games and groups and GMs and everything else. You will find like-minded people with similar values to you, and especially if you are a woman, if you're a person of color, if you're a disabled person, if you are marginalized and othered in any way, your voice desperately needs to be heard. And if you have even like an inkling of like, hey, I think I might want to try out this D&D thing, I think I might want to try out this role-playing thing, like, please get involved, because your voice will be celebrated, and people that have those kinds of voices, like, we need to be platforming the right people in content, and that can only exist if you help to create them. So again, I encourage you to just join a couple Discords for podcasts or YouTubers that you like, and go from there. But yeah, that's all I have. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.